All right, today we're going to do some basic functions. We're going to have arrays and a couple of different for loops, and even do a mapping, array map. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do add numbers function to start off, and we're going to do number 1 and number 2. All right. So what we're going to do here is return number 1 plus number 2. Okay. So when we go to our console, we can say add numbers and 10 and 5, and that gives us the answer of 15. So what we need to do now, say we wanted more than just 2 numbers, we want 3 numbers. Well, we could type in number 3, number 4, number 5 and keep doing it that way, or we can turn this into an array. Let's turn this into a number array. All right. And then we're going to console.log that number array so you can see what it looks like. And then we're going to say, okay, we need to keep up a total since we're going to be looping through this array. So let's start a total of 0. And then let's loop through the array. So for number of number array. Right? And then we're going to say total plus equals number. So as we go through the array, each number is going to be added to total. Let's return total. Alright, so let's give this a text so we know what it is. Number array. Okay. Now when we call add numbers, we have to pass in an array. So there's the bracket for the start of the array. Let's do 10, 15, and 20. Close the array, close the function. So we pass in 10, 15, 20, we get 45. Now if you don't want to pass in the array brackets into this, you can always do the little spread operator. Okay, here we go. So we have dot, 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 and then number array. So now, when we call add numbers, we don't need the array brackets anymore. We just pass in the values 10, 15, and 20, and you can see it still shows up as an array and it still works that way. So one thing we can do right here is, we'll say somebody passed in a string. Okay, add numbers 10, 15, and then 20 they passed in it as a string. So we're going to get 25 because 10 plus 15 is 25, and then 20 is added on to the end because it treats this whole thing like a string now, so 25, 20. To avoid the strings, right in front of number, add a plus sign. Call the exact same thing again, and that's going to turn this into a number, and we're going to get 45. So a little plus sign prevents strings from messing up your addition and subtraction and functions. Alright, so let's do a different function. Let's do subtract numbers. And we're just going to go ahead and spread in numbers as the argument. That'll let us do as many as we want. And then we'll let our total equal to the very first position of the array. So the first number that comes through. And arrays start with 0. So we'll let that be that. Then we're going to do a traditional array, so if we're let I is equal to, instead of 0, because that would be the first number, we're going to start on the second number. Okay, I is less than numbers, not length. And then we're going to do I plus plus. So as it goes through the array, it'll add 1 to I. And then we're going to say total minus equals. It's already started with the first number in the array, so we're going to say numbers I. So first number, and then it's going to start with 1, so it's going to be the second number. So I'll subtract that. And after the loop is done, we're going to say return total. Okay. So let's do that now. Let's run this in the console. Subtract numbers. 25, 10, and 5. That should give us 10, and it does. All right. So let's multiply some numbers. Pass in the numbers. All right. With multiplication, we're going to let total equal to 1. If we let it equal to 0, then there would always be 0. So let's go ahead and do 1, and then we're going to do, let's just do the forehand, let's do the short loop. Number of numbers, total times equals number. Return total. Okay. Run that one, see how that works. Let's do 2, 2, and 2. And that does give us 8. Okay. And then let's do divide numbers. Because why not? Here, we're going to let total equal to numbers 0. Let's do an array map for this one. Just to show you how it works. So take in numbers, we're going to say map. And in that map, we're going to get a number, so that either the value in the array, and then index, which is the place in the array. Alright, we're going to say if index is greater than 0. So if it's not the first item in the array, which is already assigned to total, we'll return total divided equals number. And after this, we're going to return the total. So let's try that out. Divide numbers. Let's do 25 divided by 5. And 25 divided by 5 is 5. So that is working. You can do more than that as well. You can do 5 again. Should give us 1. And it does. So these are your basic how you write a function. And then in the console, once you write a function, you can call that function here the same way you would in your own JavaScript. So we could, if we wanted to, we could down here we could say divide numbers, and we could then say 25, 5 right here, and this is going to run. Okay, and because we're not logging it or anything, you don't see it. So I'll put console.log 25 divided by 5 is equal to the comma, then one more of these. Let's clear it, and when it runs, there it is. So now you're calling your divide numbers function. If you want to do square root or something like that, that's like all this stuff's kind of built into JavaScript anyways, but you could do a quick little square root function. Square root. So take in a single number, and we're going to do math.square root. Pass in that number, and this is our square root function. And then we can pass in whatever we want to. Let's do 25, and that gives us 5, so that does definitely work. And you can also do number power, which is also something that's built into JavaScript. Thank goodness. So we just do the number and then the power. Math.pow. And then same thing here. Just call this. We'll say 5 to the power of 3. And that gives us 125. Alright, so we've learned about functions and arrays and loops in this code example. And we'll see you next time.